Her very first memory of dad was him coming up to her bedroom, screaming at her to shut up, and firing his pistol into her mattress, scaring her and scarring her then for the rest of her life. I can't imagine the way that that trauma rippled its way through the rest of her life. I think we all know that there are certain events in our life that really shape who we are and limit our feeling of what choices that we have, if not limit the actual choices that we have. To be honest, what's apparent now is that Troost is not just a street in our city that divides us, but it's really a line of division in each of our hearts. While I agree with you that we need to talk about humanity, we need to get to a place where we really are struggling to help everybody societally. What we can do, though, is recognize that when one part of our body is hurting more than the rest, we usually begin with addressing that. And when we begin to address the structural, racial inequity and the economic inequity that is absolutely mathematically present, and I could show you the data, not opinion, not religion, just the economic data. When we begin to address that, not only are we being moral and we're being more humane and we're addressing humanity, but we're also providing a superior economic growth for the region. When we build a relationship in Thelma's Kitchen, then we earn the privilege of stepping into a crisis with a friend and really earning trust, really being there when somebody needed it. Then once we do those first two steps, we're then afforded the opportunity through that relationship and through that trust to get to the deeper heart matters, if they exist, where we can talk about counseling and therapy and healing. We're not trying to do for somebody, we're trying to walk with and do with somebody. And when we do that, something really special happens. We have to have our hearts shifted. We have to do the hard heart work that builds empathy, builds trust, and we have to be willing to come in with cultural humility, not having all the answers. The one thing that I didn't believe 22 years ago, but that I strongly believe now, is that the answers and the solutions actually already are in the community. Each of us has a barrier that really needs to be looked at. But this is what I would end with. I think a great leader in today's day and age must take on the work of becoming a social leader. The relationship, the social contract between employees and customers and consumers and leaders has permanently shifted. And the companies that do not begin to look at corporate social responsibility and social return on investment as key to their business, whether they're an IT company or they're Cerner or they're a nonprofit, if we don't start looking at that, those companies that don't do that are going to quickly find themselves irrelevant, because Gen Xers and millennials are looking to work for folks where they feel like they're a part of something bigger than the product or the service that they're delivering. But also because the community wants to support and purchase from companies and from teams that have prioritized their social priorities as well. When you get to a place where you're now looking at the strategic vision for your organization moving forward, I think you do the organization and future quarters a disservice by not doing everything that you can to make sure that your teams are as functional, creative, and conflict-free as possible. All of those companies have baked the social aspect, that corporate social responsibility, deeply into their business model. And not only is it the right thing to do, or maybe the moral thing to do, the charitable thing to do, but you go and look at the data and it's the stronger economic thing to do. We are a social venture, which means that we are striving as a nonprofit organization to bring together the best of business best practices, both in the way that we innovate, the way that we manage, the way that we operate in the city. So the best of business, the best of faith, meaning that business is an amoral thing. To me, it needs moral men and women to push the market in moral directions. And faith, not just mine, but other faiths, do a really great job of putting the bumpers on business and kind of making sure that we do the best that we can to maintain and to value the personhood of those that we work with, those that we buy from, and those that we sell to. And then philanthropy, bringing together the best of philanthropy also. So Reconciliation Services is bringing those three things together. We serve about 5,000 people or more. I think it was 5,300 people last year, individuals with social and trauma therapy services, with economic community building services, and then really working on community revitalization and breaking down the drastic loneliness and isolation that still exists on the East Side.